Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with your other host,
Tristan Walter.
And today we're talking about, before we even say we're talking about, when you said Tristan Walter this time, just that hint of sadness.
What?
It sounded like there was like a hint of sadness, like it was like distress, like, yeah, I know, we're talking about this today.
Oh, okay.
I know your true feelings,
oh,
Walter. Let the mediocre flow through you.
No, that's not true. That's impossible.
No, it's pretty fucking true. Come on, don't even fucking lie.
You can't mess with Lucas's vision like that.
I didn't have to mess with his vision. He did that himself.
No!
As that's happening, a bunch of different CGI'd monsters are falling in the background.
Oh, God.
Because it's the remastered ultraviolet version.
Oh, God. Oh, you think that'll be the next one? It'll be ultraviolet?
Violet, I believe, actually, ultraviolet is the next thing. It's not there yet, but
it will.
I think it was something violet. I forgot what it is. It's purpley. The point is that the point of all of this is that not only will there be monsters in the background edited and falling, he'll also now have like a very Japanese pop remix of the original soundtrack. So instead of being like bum 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 ba-dum bum ba-dum, it's like bum 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 ba-da bum bum ba-da ba-da. Oh
no.
Yeah, and then there'll be like a Japanese pop band in the background dancing.
So it'll be like Jay Williams or Jay Will.
What?
Instead of John Williams.
Oh.
God.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Jay Wilson. Yes.
Oh God.
It'll be wonderful. Except it'll be fucking horrible. Anyway, the point is that today we're doing episode 2. What's it called again? I don't even fucking care.
Ouch. Okay. Attack of the Clones. You haven't even given a reason why it's bad yet, Matt, and you're already.
Oh, I'll get there. No, I don't know why.
I mean, I hate to say I told you so.
Attack of the Clone Saga. Attack of the Clone Wars Saga.
Oh, God.
Phantom Clone War Menace. I don't...
Okay, so
Revenge
then,
of...
Before we get into the meat of things, then, let me ask you this from our last cast. What do you think is worse now? Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones?
This one, and what's funny is last one, I didn't even hate it. Last one, I just said that it was a bit underwhelming at certain parts, and it was a flurry of bad decisions. But in this one, I feel like their bad decisions just completely destroyed the movie. Where last time it was like, I don't like how they did that. But in this one, it's just, wow, I have to be subjected to this.
I believe the term you used before we started the show was their bad decisions went into maximum overdrive?
Yes. Yes, maximum overdrive. Because apparently I never left the 80s. Because apparently I never left the 80s. I'm just, I have way too many notes on this movie, and we're going to try and get to yours and mine. But let's start off with the opening crawl, right?
Okay.
I know I said that the opening crawl being boring is good, and I know some people are like, wait, but that doesn't get you hyped for a movie. It doesn't get you pumped up. Well, for me, the problem is when they try and get you too pumped up, and they're like, they kind of come off as saying, oh, so many cool things have happened, and you're not seeing those. So in a way, I do like a little bit of a boring talking about the Senate opening crawl. But what happened, at least with episode 1, I think, is they opened up with that fight, with Obi-Wan and with Qui-Gon. So by doing that, you still ended up having fun stuff happen right after the boring opening. In episode 2, they have that boring opening crawl, and then we're just going through the movie as if it's a slow crawl.
Right.
So that right there was not even the big. That's not even why I hate it. I'm just saying, like, what the hell are you doing? You can't do both.
Yeah.
You can't have a boring opening crawl and then be slow to start the movie. Also, I don't know if you noticed this. There was 3 years from filming, right? Or at least not filming, but at least 3 years from release. Where episode 1 was released in 1999, episode 2 was released in 2002. So that's 3 years, and you would think that's about possibly 2 to 3 years in the middle of filming. Anyway, Natalie Portman went from like 12 to 24 in about 2 years. I don't know if it's the makeup. I don't know what it is. In the beginning, in episode 1, she looked like they were trying to paint her as like a very young. I know we said that she was actually older than she looked, but it looked like out of nowhere she just had this growth spurt where she just went from like 12 to 24. And I looked at her and I'm like, wait, what?
Like I think it was 14 to 24, but yeah, you're right.
Wait, was it really 10 years, like in Star Wars canon?
Well, Anakin went from 9 to 19, so yes.
Oh, okay, because I didn't hear his age for some reason. Maybe I just didn't pay attention enough or to care. But the thing is that to me, he always felt like he was coming off as like a 15-year-old, so I didn't realize it was actually 10 years. No, you laugh. Nothing about his character made me think that he wasn't
laughing because I know
on
you're
the cast of Glee. Everything about his character made me feel like he was just... Nothing wrong with Glee, by the way. I liked Glee back in the day, but you kind of understand that, these are 20-something-year-olds playing 15-year-olds. I didn't realize he was actually 19 years old as a character, because that's fucking weird. Because he came off as this super-duper edgy teenager. And I know 19 is still teen, but he came off as like 15, 16. And I kind of, or at least the most, 17.
Yeah.
The fact that he's 19 just does not sit well. It
definitely did feel like they were trying to beat you over the head with, hey, he's awkward. Hey, he's a teenager. It's like, he's still a Jedi. You know that, right? He's still technically. It would be like a monk in this world. It's like, and okay, even aside from that, yes, a Jedi is still human. Okay, I understand that. But there's a certain level of respect and self-control that people usually show.
Well, that's why they talk about him being from, not as if, he wasn't trained as a youngling, right? So there's this idea that he isn't as respectful, he doesn't get it.
But even as a person, like, you don't have to be trained to show some self-respect, some self-restraint, especially in present company. No, I agree completely. I have this in my notes later, but I'll bring it up now since we're at this point in his, talking about it. I feel as if, and this is aside from Hayden Christensen's acting, which we'll talk about a bit later, but in terms of, like, the actual character, I think someone thought, oh, he's really funny and witty, and he's going to, people will laugh at him like, oh, wow, that's, like, hilarious. And I know this is such a weird reference, as if, he's like Bart Simpson. Which, mind you, apparently I'm not in the 80s, I'm in the 90s. Although episode 1 was released in 99, but apparently I'm slowly progressing. Maybe later on I'll be able to make some kind of 2000s reference. I'll make an Alvaro Lavigne Blink-182 reference. It'll be great. Anyway, but the point is that, they thought, he's funny, right? And it's like, no, he comes off as an annoying asshole. And he's also, by the way, if you forgot, Darth Vader. Many people forget this. No, I don't think they have, but if they have, many people forget, right, that motherfucker's Darth Vader, the asshole. That's ended up, So you kind of sit there, and with at least, and I understand, I might be biased. Again, it's like, oh, so, you're going to, what you're about to say, fuck it. All right, it's true. Obi-Wan did become Darth Vader. And also his relationship with Qui-Gon was pretty, even though he was messing with him, it was still like, oh, you're young, you're being, a jerk, like you're being a little idiot. With Anakin, it doesn't come off as a little idiot. It comes off as, wow, Anakin, you're being a shit. Like when Anakin gets his arm cut off at the end, you're like, did he deserve that? Did he? No, it's really hard because, like, he just, and I know it's, in their eyes, they're like, oh, well, if you took it as, an asshole, as we've shown him a bit later on in the movie when he's not really as, like,
funny and witty with it anymore. He's just more direct. Well, that's foreshadowing. Again, then why do I want to see the love story? Because it's it's just like I know we've said this before, and it's obviously very hard to relate him to like a real life person and try to because this is fiction. But seriously, you might want to see a biopic of Hitler, right? But you don't want to see Hitler falling in love with Ava as if it's a wonderful love story and everything. Like, no, this is the guy that literally committed mass genocide. And mind you, did it in this fucking movie, by the way.
So technically he did it twice.
He did.
Although technically I don't think he killed all Sand people. He just killed that village.
No. He did a little appetizer fucking genocide over here.
Like
a little fucking training, for fuck's sake. That's why I'm pissed. Because, we have him basically do this. And we just have Padme going, oh my God, sweetie. And it's like, are you fucking serious? Are you completely fucking serious? Like, well, I'm sorry. I have nothing against George Lucas as a human being. But if this is what he considers a love story, dear fucking God. I'm sorry.
I mean,
it's not a love story.
I don't know. At that point, maybe she was just like, okay, let's try and calm him down. Hopefully he doesn't murder me too. Spoiler!
What's crazy, though, is that's, hopefully he doesn't murder me too, and then that's why I married him. Like, what the fuck? You literally just detailed that I'm in an abusive relationship, legit. Like, I'm not even, legit. It's just like, I hope he doesn't murder me. I'll marry him, so I hope he keeps me close and he loves me and I don't die. You've literally...
If you want to think of it this way, I mean, Padme's basically grown up in, the political world her entire life, too, so maybe she really doesn't know what it's like to talk to other men, either. As Anakin doesn't know what it's like to talk to other women, seeing as how he grew up in a desert and is a monk, basically.
No, I understand the idea of both are very awkward. I get that. I'm just saying that, no, it's true. And I understand you laugh because it's just the idea of them both just stumbling over each other. That's what you see, and I do like that, kind of just the befuddled, I'm so sorry, I want to, but it's kind of if that's what they wanted to go for, should not have had small-scale genocide. You should not have had Anakin be, because even though, you can have situations where a guy, or where a person, it's not even about a guy thing, it's a person not understanding what boundaries are, right? Not understanding, because it happens even in real life, people not understanding, not trying to be evil about it, just not understanding, this is how I should act around a human being, right? The problem is that the Anakin character is rewarded for acting inappropriately, even if he didn't realize it, by essentially getting that kiss off Padme, even though she backed off, even though that there was that little hesitation there, it's still really frustrating because it's no, he should have been slapped immediately or pushed away, or that kiss shouldn't have even happened. Then, when we had the scene of them actually getting to know each other and everything being nicey, showing that, he has a really good side, and, maybe he's, at least in her eyes, again, to us, we're well, he's fucking Vader, but whatever. He's developing whatever, as a nicer person, then a kiss can happen or something can happen, even though it's in such short amount of time. Still, it's not like they were getting married fucking yet until later, and I'm really? You've known him for how long? I know she knew him when he was a kid, but he was away for so long that literally she knew him for about a couple days. I mean, we don't know if there was a time skip between the end of the movie and the marriage, but just cinematically,
Disney for
it does not work.
Oh, wait.
It's not Disney yet, my friend. It's not Disney yet. That's full Lucas. That was a full Lucas on, my friend.
I know.
That was a full, but yeah. So yeah, I was not.
That's the thing. The two scenes that I really didn't like, the whole going for the love scene was the opening scene where they first see each other again. That was again, there are some things just being a person that not to say in certain situations. Mm-hmm. And then later when they were packing to go to Naboo, he just feels like he's really complaining at that point. It's I know what'll get her attention. Let's complain about my life a lot. It's those two scenes just
I don't know.
I
think he can complain about his life just fine. What didn't work for me is, and I might be hating Christensen's acting because I'm not saying overall that he was a bad actor, but like, because in episode 3, no one really complains about his acting, I believe, although I have to see that again, of course, to do the podcast. But in episode 2, some people say that Harrison Ford is not the best actor, right? But it was able to be covered up, I would argue, with an ensemble cast and Harrison Ford's character, Han Solo, being able to just be like, that guy for the first movie, and then and then in the next 2 movies, when they had to expand him a bit more, I assume he had taken even more acting classes. He had already taken some to be in, I can't believe I forgot the movie, with Lucas before Star Wars. So it's not like he was a bad actor. But for some people saying like, oh, wasn't a big fan of Harrison Ford in episode 4. Okay, right. Well, I think in the next 2, arguably, he got better. Right?
Yeah, I guess.
But with Hayden Christensen being, this newer actor, younger actor in this movie, it just did not work. Like, I was not a big fan of his acting. I felt like every scene that he was in that he had to really, like, give longer bits of dialogue just did not work. Like, or, again, maybe they were trying to go for witty, but he came off as asshole a lot.
Right.
Like him with Obi-Wan in the elevator came off as an asshole, felt like they had, like, no chemistry. When, him talking to Padme about how he killed all the women and children, I know it sounds so silly to say this. I didn't know if I believed that he did it. Because it didn't sound like there was that much. It really, no. Because, like, he was just like, I killed them. The women and the children. Like, it wasn't even like he started because he was angry. He was just, it didn't feel like good acting.
Okay.
I was not a fan of it at all. And that's kind of what really brought the film down for me, I think, when they had to have Anakin, be this, like, this character, the focus on Anakin had to be huge, and it just really brought the scene down for me.
Right.
Because I wasn't a big fan of Natalie Portman. What? Yeah.
But Matt, you got what you wanted. You get to see how, the sweet, lovable boy on Tatooine becomes the evil space Hitler.
Exactly. Like, apparently that's what I fucking wanted. You know what it is, too? I will admit, I would have taken that had we not had a love story, or vice versa, had they not gotten married at the end of it. And because I think just the fact that you had to do, you had certain scenes in here that paints Anakin as essentially the space Hitler, because, again, if any of you forgot, he's going to be fucking Darth Vader. You have these scenes, and then you're supposed to juxtapose this with a love story. It's really hard. Like, it's a hard pill to swallow. It's hard to sit back and just take this. Like, yes, this is what it's going to be for the next, mind you, 2.5 hours, by the way.
Right.
Usually, I'm okay with longer movies because you get to explain your point. Not in this case. I would have taken an hour and 20, and I would have liked it.
Yeah. It's funny. I feel like 2 was just an awkward. I mean, for the prequels, they had to take an awkward moment in time because I feel like if they had showed some of the other planets in the galaxy, separating from the Republic itself, maybe that would have given it a little more, I don't know, just something interesting to be able to see instead of, hey, the Clone War hasn't started yet, but we're getting to it.
Yeah, that's hard too. Because, because episode 2 doesn't even show the Clone War. It's just, the Clone War is about to happen, guys, we swear. Also, again, like, I'm really going to push this point.
It's the very first battle. It's the very beginning of the Clone War. But you don't see the very beginning of the Clone War until the very end of the movie.
Exactly. Another thing, and again, well, not another thing, the same fucking thing, because I'll say it again and again. If you would have had either him, showing more foreshadowing that he could become Darth Vader one day, because he is going to, or the love story. You just can't have both, or if you do have both, you can't have Anakin tell her. Just the way Anakin told her, even if she doesn't know how to talk to people, it still seems very much like,
which you think she would, seeing as how she is a senator. So
Yes.
She'd
and
be
it's also
kind of
like, but I
sensitive to
still,
that kind of thing.
yes, or, right, but I still love him, even though he did this. Then are you a bad guy too? Are we supposed to not feel sympathetic towards you now? No, because, like, you know, him being a murderer and her knowing about the murder. Now, mind you, yes, someone could say, oh, well, you know, they killed his mother. Did the children kill his mother? Like, did the women and children? No, like, did they? Like, I'm assuming they fucking didn't. So,
yeah.
You know, that's the problem. Him basically committing a very small scale, you know, I'll stop using the word genocide, but just, you know, mass killing, which sounds just as fucking horrible. And that's that. And also, you know, another thing, moving away from that, jumping back into the beginning, we had a full movie to plan out Padme falling in love with Anakin. But they still have her say, you will always be that little boy. And then things get fucking weird again. Like, we could not in any way have had, like, her, you know, I know maybe to some people it's like, oh, no, that's called, you know, people growing, right? People grow. So she grew to love him. It's just like, but when you use the sentence, you will always be that little boy, and you're getting married to that little boy at the end of the movie, it's just fucking weird.
Weird.
Now, mind you, I think this is Lucas saying, oh, what, you want me to make them related again? All right, fine, we accept that.
God.
But I still feel as if, even though that's a lot, that's many notches down.
I don't think I've ever laughed at that joke so hard until you iterated it like that.
Wait, what?
Just the way you delivered that actually made me laugh at that, because I usually, like, I don't know, I don't usually laugh at those jokes, because I usually just, like, chuckle. I'm like, yeah, okay, but you actually made me, like, full-on laugh at that.
Thank you, because you always try to defend it, saying, like, oh, no, you know, even though as writers, you understand they should have known what they were doing, that's weird. But as actual characters, you're like, no, but they didn't really show that Luke and Leia were in love with each other. Like, they didn't look like they were in love with each other when they did certain things, you know, like the kissing. But they weren't really in love. And, you know, but still, it's just, I'm happy I got you. Oh, by the way, talking about the elephant in the room. No, not the one George Lucas CGI'd in there, but the CGI itself. CGI itself.
Okay.
So
what about it?
I do like
the
city. I like the city that they flew through because it was nice to see a full city. We don't really see a lot of those in the original trilogy because everything is explodey dead. But the CGI is really, really dated. That Lucas was utilizing new technology at the time, you know. But in a weird way, I would say that while practical effects have been dated for a very long time, they still have a certain charm about them that bad CGI does not have, especially on the very high budget that they had. I forgot to mention this. I have these tabs open, and here I am not mentioning this. We actually, because I wanted to talk about, we didn't talk about the budget for our last movie and how much it made back. Now, this is not adjusted for inflation, so sorry, everybody. But the budget was $115 million for episode 1, and it actually made back $1.27 billion.
Right. That's pretty good.
Which, as we mentioned, you know, that hype, right?
Yeah.
Now,
true.
we look at Star Wars Episode 2, and their budget was $115 million. Sadly, not that much more. That's what's sad, too. It wasn't as much more, but they still put in my opinion, more CGI than the first one, which is, I think, where it faltered, where I don't know if they were using as much money on CGI as they could have, because, well, it's newer technology. I really don't know if that is as much money as they could have spent on CGI. And before many people say, but $115 million. Yes, but you had to pay a lot of actors.
Right.
You know? Not every actor, mind you, you know, Natalie Portman, I would argue, wasn't a huge enough star yet to get a huge, you know, like to have a huge contract. But still, I mean, I would argue Samuel L. Jackson was pretty big. Maybe I'm wrong, right? You know, 2002, you know, he's had some hit movies at this time. So we had Christopher Lee. By the way, Christopher Lee as Goku. Like we had some great actors in here who I assume were paid a decent amount. So I don't know if, mind you, again, $115 million, yes. But I don't think they spent as much as they could have on the CGI. Even if they did, this was back in 2002, so it's not as if CGI would still be up to snuff today.
Right.
So, yeah, And also, by the way, so 115 million. In the box office, it made almost 700 million. 694.4 million. So it didn't do bad at all. It made its budget back times, a lot. But not 1 point some odd billion.
Right.
There was a drop off, Tristan.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Another thing about the CGI. So it wasn't just the cities, if you noticed. It made all the sets, even inside, seem very grand, grandiose. But again, they seem really fucking dated now. And even then, I would argue, I'm sure it looked like some actors were just constantly walking past green screens. Because they really were. Minus
right.
like maybe one set that was, oh, hey, we're in the desert. I'm pretty sure the rest of it was just complete CGI fest. Like, I think you've seen the GIFs or you've seen the general, or GIFs, you've seen general pictures of them or videos of them working on set, and it's just a green screen, and they're just moving their arms around. It's like, pew, 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 pew. Because that's what the movie was, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, also, by the way, another good thing, less Jar Jar.
I was going to say, Matt, you even got your token appearance from Jar Jar Binks.
No.
He's a senator now.
Yeah, no. So he's, he seems less of, an offensive stereotype, like a token character, and he seems, like as if he's a very calm, mature character. But it's weird because
he grew too.
He grew, yes, but here's the issue. We see the first movie, we see Jar Jar. We see him now, and he's in the Senate. It feels like Lucas is making a joke about U.S. Congress. I don't know if it's just me. But it feels like Lucas is just like, oh, yeah, Misa, anyone can get into Congress.
Oh.
I'm sorry, man. It's just Jar Jar Binks.
Because I thought of it as Jar Jar kind of made a name for himself after the whole skirmish on Naboo. And the Gungans probably needed a representative in the Galactic Senate along with the humanoid or the humans of Naboo as well. So
That's
technically
true.
Naboo has 2 senators.
That's true.
I don't know. It made sense to me. I mean, okay. I guess it wouldn't make sense for a lot of people, but I don't know.
I mean, again,
I still always thought Jar Jar is smarter than people give him credit for, but yeah. That's my own opinion.
I'm sure he is. No, I'm sure he is. It's just that, that's why I'm kind of happy that that they stopped using him as comic relief in this movie to kind of show that he's grown and that he's not that character anymore.
Right. But
I really think that, Lucas kind of, or the writers kind of shot themselves in the foot because they made him that, comedic relief character because, while we look at you and I do Dragon Ball podcasts as well, Dragon Ball movies, Dragon Ball Z movies, specials, and, Dragon Ball Super. We don't think Krillin is dumb, right? If any of you know anything about Dragon Ball Z, Krillin, strongest human, but compared to everyone else in the galaxy at certain points of the series, very weak in comparison. So Krillin isn't dumb, but we know that the movies use him as comedic relief, so it is hard to take him seriously. So if they had the next movie saying, oh, yes, Krillin is a congressman, you'd be like, that guy? The one that slipped on ice once?
Well, I mean, he became a police officer, so...
Did he really? Was he a police officer in GT?
No, in Revival of F, he's a police officer.
Well, thanks for spoilers, Dickface.
Oh, sorry.
Next thing you're going to tell me that F stands for Frieza. It stands for Tristan's a fuckface. Revival of fuckface. Thanks. Anyway, so... Back into Star Wars Episode 2.
I didn't know you didn't know that.
I think I remember him in the outfit. It didn't click. That's why I thought he was. I thought he was one in GT for some odd reason. Anyway, I know he grew that crazy stash. But anyway, so when Obi-Wan found out that there were clones, I'm happy he was playing coy, like just kind of gathering information, because I thought that he was seemingly cool with it. Like, it was kind of weird, man. And so I liked that even, him and the council were just like, this is pretty bad, because a clone army is pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
like we should not be sitting there saying, "Oh, clone army, yeah, we should just use them for battle and to fight for to the death for our cause." That seems like the bad guy thing to do.
Yeah, well, even Padme, the whole reason she was so upset about leaving was not making this grandiose army for the Republic and trying to be diplomatic about it.
Yes, but so we move on, or technically back in a way, because I still have some stuff I want to say about the Padme Anakin kiss, right? That first one that was kind of like, because I think, a lot of us don't really, or some people don't realize that, I believe, at least, 2016 right now, we're doing this podcast, a decent amount of, actually, we're recording from 2015, but it's coming out in 2016. The point is that we're doing this, right? And we assume that people have noticed, man, that Anakin behavior, kind of awkward. Not awkward like, oh man, I'm a nerd. No, awkward like, you're kind of getting pushy there, dude. Like, just, the answer was no. The answer was no. So, but my thing is this, right? The idea that even for that brief second, she kind of went along with it. I do think it's a really bad lesson for kids. And for anyone who says, why are we pandering to children? Well, technically the first Star Wars did, so you shut your mouth. Ewoks? Yes, those are for adults. Lucas sat there and went, what are the adults, the gritty, right, Return of the Jedi adults going to want to see? Ewoks. Fuck, yes. Right? I don't think Lucas sat there just, Ewoks. Every parent wants this. The children will hate Ewoks. It's like, no. So, we've been doing stuff for kids for years. Star Wars is based around, stuff for the kids. It's for kids. Right? So the idea that, these kids are watching this and it just doesn't feel right, that it's just like, oh, yeah, no. And of course it's because I think you and I, too, know that they are going to get married. Like, no one can say, but what if they don't get married? No, they're going to get married.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to get married. They're going to have kids. And this is not a love story. This is Edward Cullen Twilight stuff. And for anyone who says, oh, no, but I liked that, reevaluate that. Because seriously, think about the Edward Cullen Twilight stuff. He was basically like, I will watch you while you are sleeping because I must. Like, look, if you're dating someone and you're laying next to them, it's kind of cute. But when you're an undead 100-something-year-old vampire talking about a 17-year-old girl, it's kind of weird, man. And now in this case, it's a bit different,
right?
Right, But
okay.
The point is that, hey, look, Edward killed to drink blood, okay? Anakin killed to, not to drink blood, I assume. The point being
to avenge his mother, but probably not the best action to take. Probably not what his mom would have wanted. No, yes.
You know what the thing is? You avenge your mom, you kill a few of them. I sit there, I'm like, I see your point. To basically say, like, I killed the women, I killed the children. Yeah, I mean, the women could have, hurt the mom too, but really the children is where it's just like, it hurts.
Yeah. I feel like if he had said, oh, I killed the raiding party that took my mother, that might have worked a bit better. Like, okay,
right, because you'd be in the middle.
Still the wrong case of action for anyone, but a little more understandable. When it's, I slaughtered the entire village, the women and the children, it's a little, whoa.
Also want to mention, at first when I knew he was killing a few of them, when we saw it, I didn't feel bad because, to be honest, Obi-Wan killed Darth Maul. So, no, I mean, seriously though, like Obi-Wan killed Darth Maul. Now, yes, Darth Maul was a potential Sith Lord, but still, the point being is that it's not as if Jedi are like, oh no, Jedi never kill.
No,
I can't kill.
Like, but this is also on another level because these were technically civilians. He was an enemy combatant. You could really think of it that way.
Oh, well, the thing is, I don't care about them being civilians because they did take the mom and were, tortured her to death. So, or at least left her for dead. So, again, some of them, it's still a bad thing to do, right? It is.
Yeah.
But you can sit there and be like, in the middle of it, we're like, okay, it was a bad thing. But I feel like they were like, no, again, oh, no, it's too much of a middle ground, so we have to make it really bad. And it's like, oh, okay, so then, yes, it's really bad that he killed the women and children. But again, to me, it's just the idea that he said that to Padme, and then, as I said earlier, she consoles him. I literally have in my notes, oh, God, are they going to make love? because it was frightening, man. It's frightening to me, dude.
Oh, God.
It is.
It's Padme's fetish. Oh, God.
Yeah, oh, good fucking God. She's just like, if he didn't kill the women and children, I wouldn't even have been into it, really.
I'm
it was
sorry,
the women and children
to,
part. No, it's fine. I mean, obviously genocide isn't funny, in real life, and it's not funny in movies either, but just the the fact that we're what it is, it's you and I trying to laugh at something horrible because it's our brains trying to make sense of the fucking complete clusterfuck.
Yeah.
That went on.
I do agree. Okay, looking at it, I'm not really sure who else Anakin could have told, but at the same time, I agree with you in the sense that maybe you shouldn't have told Padme.
Because it's hard. No, it's hard for him because here's the thing, right? I feel like if he had told Obi-Wan at that point could have held him like hugged him and been like, it's okay if he starts crying about it.
Right.
Although then again, in my notes it would have been, are they going to make love? I'm kidding. No, but seriously.
Although at that point, Obi-Wan might have been like, oh God, Anakin, what? I have to tell this to the council. What the hell, man?
Okay, I'm happy that was your transition because I was like, are they going to make love? And you're like, well. And I'm like, oh, is that your OTP, Tristan? Anyway, seriously though, but all jokes aside about pairings, talking about this seriously, or somewhat seriously, as we always do, somewhat. The thing with that is, he could have said that, right? But if he knew it was about his mom, he could have been like, Anakin, it's okay. I understood how much she meant to you. Why did you go do that? But I understood how much she meant to you. It's okay. And it's hard for him to get around to doing that because we have the Clone Wars coming up and we have that battle coming up. So you could argue, here's the thing, right? You could argue that's why Padme didn't really freak out at the time because, they had a battle coming up that they had to prepare for. But once that was done, the fact that we had a marriage scene, the fact that the feel-good scene, because remember, every Star Wars movie, I don't know about the newest one, but every Star Wars movie we've had out of the 6 have a feel-good ending. Something nice at the end to make you go, oh, that was sweet. So, of course, the impending, Clone War is that's not sweet.
Right.
So what are we going to do to make this sweet? Let's have a wedding. After everything that fucking happened, that was literally the worst thing you could have done.
But,
you could have literally had Anakin eating Jar Jar Binks, and I would have been like, but they didn't get married, right? They didn't get married, though, right?
Oh.
Mind you, that's fucking horrible. I'm not saying that's not horrible. It is horrible. It is horrible. That's my point. That's fucking horrifying. It's fucking horrifying. Just cutting Jar Jar like that fucking, the fucking camel on in episode 6. That would have been horrifying. But all I would have said was, wait. Do you remember episode 6? It was like a camel beast where it was like, get inside it for warmth, Luke. Wasn't it? Oh, no, it was episode 5. My bad.
Right. You mean the Tauntaun. That's what I thought you were trying to say, but I'm like, wrong movie.
Episode 5, correct. I'm sorry. Yeah, wrong movie. They're all blending in. It's episode 4, it's 5, it's episode, 4, 5, 6, it's 9, that's 15, 16, 18. God. Yeah, episode 18. That's what's going on in my head right now. Gotcha. Simple math, everyone. Can't do it on the radio. But anyway, I literally would have sat there with Anakin wearing Jar Jar Binks' skin. I'd have been like, but they didn't get married though, right? Padme and Anakin did not get married, right? Are we good there? I mean, this is horrifying right now. I'm completely I'm fucked right now in the head. But I don't know. I think Lucas kind of ditched the child psychologist. But are we? From the earlier movies, we talked about it. He had a child psychologist on set to try and... You remember that, right?
Yes, I remember joking about it.
No, but it was accurate, though. God. He did have one on set because he wanted some of Yoda's words... No, he wanted Darth Vader's words to actually be considered truth because he was a bad guy. And what happened was the child psychologist said it would be best to have Yoda confirm, Darth Vader, your father, he is. To basically have everyone, like the kids and anyone else who's questioning it because, Darth Vader's a bad guy. Oh, let's have, him mention it. So it's kind of like, I think, which, by the way, another thing that made me think that he ditched the child psychologist, just kind of Anakin losing his arm like that. Also, last movie, too, he made the joke about, Maul just getting cut in half. It's like, I think he dropped her. Because I believe it was a female psychiatrist. Like, I think he dropped her, man. Just completely said, we don't need your services anymore. I think I know how to talk to children. Misa.
Oh, God.
But anyway, we're at one of the best parts of the movie. Boba Fett is a kid.
Right.
And with a voice that sounds nothing like he would sound as the voice actor in the future.
Well, I mean, he's wearing a helmet, so no one could tell
this is everything I wanted. Oh, no. He can look any way he wants to. Just the voice was just like, really? This is the guy that eventually sounds like this. I was like, are you...
So two dark and foreboding characters, both clad in armor, seen as children, and not what we expected them to be.
Hooray! This is stupid. Oh, by the way, another thing that we haven't mentioned yet about the quote-unquote love story here. The poem, right? We see that poem. To me it sounds like a poem that we have Anakin kind of recites to Padme. And look, man, I've written poetry for women. Like, I love writing poetry. I think poetry is awesome. But it's not off as romantic. It seemed obsessive. Right? So it just felt like Anakin comes off as this edgy teenager, which I really thought he was. I wrote, which he is. He wasn't, apparently. But it just seems worse because
job accomplished.
He comes off as a bit of a stalker, and that isn't romance.
Right.
Which is why I keep on saying, like, I'm sorry, man, but if that's romance, it's kind of weird. Also, we mentioned earlier the divide with Obi-Wan and with Anakin, but coming off more as they don't have chemistry. Interestingly enough, I thought their actors' ages were really going to be closer. I was wrong, right? We have Ewan McGregor at, I think it was 31 at the time, according to my calculations. Again, I did math before the show, so he should be 31. And at the time, we had Hayden Christensen as 21. So as actors, they were actually pretty, they were 10 years apart. But just, I don't know, for some reason, Ewan McGregor looked super-duper young. Well, Hayden Christensen looked super-duper old. I know I said, I thought he was playing a 16, 17-year-old. But he looked like he was in his mid-20s already.
Right.
So it was confusing because you look at, like, once you see episode 3, then you're like, oh, yes, Ewan McGregor looks old.
Right.
But in episode 2, it felt like there was barely a gap. Like, there was only a 3-4 year gap, even though there was a bigger one. Like, the beard did not, especially because the voice wasn't deep at the time, so the beard did not help, because the beard looked like, they were just like, quickly, make him not look like a baby. A babby. Make him not look like a babby. Put on some facial hair. And it didn't really do anything to me. Because you noticed it, too. It felt like they were more brothers rather than...
Well, I was saying that more of like the characters together as a pair. In 3, they're, it's not so much of Obi-Wan constantly criticizing Anakin for, doing something wrong or, this, that, or the other thing, and Anakin reacting badly to it, saying, enough, I get it, yeah. It's the two of them working together and working out their problems together, because at that point, they're both knights. And they really do, they have... That's why I loved, like you said, you weren't impressed with, Christensen's acting in this one. In 3, Anakin is his character is so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, he really does. I felt bad for him whatever, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. It felt like the character was actually relatable and that he was actually pretty even-tempered. Yeah, he had his outbursts here and there, but it seemed like it was more justified instead of just, he's complaining again. He actually did seem like a more well-rounded person.
I love it because we're not going to talk about episode 3, but I loved it because you're like, his outbursts are more justified. All I can think of is Order 66, and I'm like, Tristan!
That he didn't order that.
Fair enough, but it's an outburst. No,
I mean, he kind of carried it out, but
No, yeah, right. What's Order 66, Mom? Tune in next time.
Oh God.
Anyway,
but
so.
The
oh
thing
yeah, by
with,
the way. We
yeah,
forgot
go
to
ahead.
mention. We forgot to mention, right? You know, Anakin and Padme getting married. Look at that. Isn't it a beautiful love story? It's a Star Wars Wednesday miracle. Wow. To think, love comes in every shape and size. I don't know
Even
where
mechanical.
I'm getting at. This is fucking horrible. Oh, were we? No, because I'm like, are you trying to talk about my C-3PO and Anakin fan fiction on air?
What?
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 What? Wait, you saw that tweet, right? The tweet where it's just like, no, there was a tweet that I showed you. I think
getting worse by the second.
No. It was a beautiful tweet. I loved it. It was just Darth Vader force choking a stormtrooper, and he was like, "Harder, sir." And Darth Vader, what? Stormtrooper,
yes.
what?
Yes,
Harder,
I've
sir.
seen that.
What? I loved it. But anyway, so but getting back to the movie, yeah, you were saying that.
But Matt,
movie,
you
you're not
can't
a big fan of.
You can't pair Anakin and 3PO together. That's, what about R2? What?
R2 don't need no man.
I never said he did.
Okay, fair enough. Well, wait, no, it's like R2 don't need no droid. Anyway, so.
There you go.
All right, I am not a fan of the fight scene between Obi-Wan and Papa Fett. I'm not a big fan. I think it was, that's his name. I think it was supposed to showcase that Obi-Wan can fight without a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And the rain made everything a bit harder to move, which is true.
Right.
But still, I feel like the choreography was not that good. And that kick that Obi-Wan gave to Fett was really laughable. I loved it, but it looked like a Japanese superhero kick. Like, it looked like a Kamen Rider kick. And I just sat there and I was like, wait, did he really just do a Kamen Rider kick in the rain? Are we doing this right now? The part with Obi-Wan,
I see what you meant.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the choreography, because he really had a fight sort of one-on-one-ish, kind of wrestling with everything. It was a bit strange to me. I didn't really enjoy it as much. But I did like when Obi-Wan was holding on to the wire. Like, that was fun to me.
Right.
But I don't know if scenes like that, because here's the thing, right? That scene seemed familiar. Like, it felt like it, the way it played out in my head. And I was wondering, I was like, wait, is it because scenes like that are extremely generic, or if I remember it from when I was a kid? I didn't know which.
Did you find out?
That was interesting. No.
Okay.
So that'll probably be a problem forever. I'll sit up at night and I'll go, is it generic or did I remember?
Okay. I mean, if anything, I like the fact that they showed, Jedi go through other, it's apparent that Jedi go through other training aside from just with a lightsaber because, I mean, no matter how good you are, sometimes you're not going to have a weapon, and it's good to know how to use your hands and feet. But if anything, True. I would say the kick that he delivered, it seemed like, or I don't know if I'm using this right, you would know better than me, but it seemed like a wrestling kick, like a drop kick. Both feet in the air?
No, because it was, but one leg hit the stomach, though. So it literally turned into like a rider kick.
Well, I know what you're talking, that was earlier in the fight. And I think he did that because Fett was getting ready to, like, boost into the air. So I think that's why he left. It looked more of like a flying kick to me. But
that's what I'm saying, a flying kick.
After Obi-Wan's got the wire around his legs and he's running up to Fett, who's just gotten his blaster back, and he's firing. He doesn't have his lightsaber, so he runs up and he double kicks him off the edge.
Sort of, yes. I believe
and
it was
then
more
he realizes,
sliding, wasn't it?
Well, he wasn't.
Or was it completely on?
It was
because I can't remember it completely.
Yeah, well, Fett's already lost his jetpack at this point, so he's scrambling for his blaster.
Right.
Obi-Wan is tied together by his wrist gauntlet, so Obi-Wan's now running after Fett because he's just gotten his blaster back, and he's trying to close the range because he has no way of deflecting them. So I guess at that point he was just so desperate to not get shot, he's like, I have to knock him completely off balance, so he drops it again. Unfortunately, he's still attached to Fett, who he has now just kicked off the side of this platform.
Yes.
Because I figured that would have been the first thing he would have, I don't know, maybe he would have tried to grapple him instead of kicking him off, because he's like, because as soon as he does it, he realizes, oh, this was a bad idea, and then he gets pulled over with him.
I know. I will do anything to destroy you. Wait, crud.
Yeah.
Bad idea. I'm looking at the scene right now. As this is happening, let's talk about something completely different.
I mean, I'd like to say that I did enjoy the fight. I thought it was nice. It was, No, it was still. He jumped up, but it was still a one kick. Like it was still a 1 foot kick because he landed on his feet. Right. I think he went for the drop kick, but then it went for the 1 foot. Because yes, earlier on it was also he went for the drop kick. That was funny, like double feet, but then he just used 1 foot instead. Because no one likes me. I felt like that fight kind of gave you, I don't know, it was an action scene. It was like there's been so much dialogue so far, which is also why I like the chase scene through Coruscant. Like little pockets of action throughout the movie was good. But it felt like, Obi-Wan was getting all the action scenes because, he's going after, the bounty hunter who's going to link him back to, the big bad boss and everything like that. And meanwhile, it's just Anakin with Padme the whole time.
What I will mention, though, is it just me, or did it feel like, I know they focused on Obi-Wan, they definitely did, but it feels like, and this is the perfect transition into my next note, it does feel like they tried to write off Obi-Wan again. What do I mean by writing off? Last movie, we had him randomly in a ship. Not randomly, we had him in a ship to get him away from plot. Even though we had Anakin in the ship as well, we focused on him a lot, where with Obi-Wan, we had random flashes. Now, yes, we did focus on him going after Boba Fett, we did, but it felt like him even just going after, Boba Fett and his dad, Boba Fett. By going after both of them, it felt like a way to just get him away from the quote-unquote main plot, which is how fast can Anakin and Padme fall in love, even though they really, really shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, you see what I mean? Like, it feels like they were trying to not write him off completely, of course, but kind of just be like, yes, you have to be elsewhere in the galaxy.
Right.
You can't be anywhere near any of this.
Well, because otherwise he would have been like, hey, Anakin, what the fuck are you doing?
And that's the point, right? But don't you love that? Hey, Anakin, what are you doing? I'm an adult who actually knows what the fuck's going on with lives and people and relationships. Like, what the fuck you doing? But, also, by the way, right, another thing that upsets me, Matt, you've been so positive so far. Again, another situation of making the universe so small, because I know that they're in an area where they're looking for Anakin's mom, but they just so happen to find C-3PO, and we end up seeing the same place that Luke grew up, and why, look, Uncle Owen. Man, I really wanted to fucking be a young Uncle Owen.
Well,
that's all I've ever wanted. Fuck the rest of this sequel. Just show me a young Uncle Owen.
I mean, I feel like that makes more sense than it does. That scene would make more sense than how you were saying R2 and 3PO coming out of nowhere in the first movie. Running into Owen and Beru in 2, I think, makes more sense.
But how big is the planet? Isn't the planet pretty fucking big?
Well, Tatooine itself, obviously a planet is very large, yes, but Tatooine really doesn't have that much settlement. I mean, as far as I know of, whether you want to call it canon or non-canon, whatever, but I'm pretty sure that the only settlement on Tatooine is Mos Eisley.
Okay.
I mean, it would make sense. It's a giant fucking desert, too, so...
No, of course. All right. So, it just felt weird that it's just like, wow, right where Luke grew up. Look at that shit.
it's kind of like the small town of the galaxy, I guess you could call it. I guess you could think of it that way. So it's like running into people that you would know. It's like, huh.
Yeah. All right, I guess so. What I do like, though, is during that secret meeting about the clones that Obi-Wan was spying on, which, again, he gets captured and he's not seen for a while. So, they did it again. Get him away from the main plot. I really like these alien races. Their designs are really great. Like, I really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I know it might sound like, Matt, you finally found something. Just all the other races that were
Count Dooku's secret council?
Yeah, that meeting.
With the Separatists,
you know, just
that was, for the droid army.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. So, I mean, their designs. I really enjoy the alien designs. So, boom.
Yeah.
I found something good.
There you go.
I did it.
That's about it, but I found it.
Mind you, I didn't hate that scene with Fett and Obi-Wan. I just think that, and it was a good way to just be like, hey, please, here's some action. But obviously got a lot better later.
Okay.
Okay. So, by the way, even though I didn't like the love story, quote unquote, I have to really put these quotes over love story. I'm sitting here going, even though I didn't like it, right? It definitely wasn't randomly interrupted by the death of Anakin's mother. Like, that totally in no way just fucked that up, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, it feels like you're trying to build that up, and it's just like, and then Anakin's mom dies.
Right.
And it's like, but let's get back to some love. All right, yeah.
Because she's the one who's supposed to be there to comfort him in his, time of loss. It's still kind of weird how he told him. It would have worked.
Yes.
Like, I agree with you. It would have worked as, she's there for him when he's in pain. It's like, not so much if you tell the other person, hey, I slaughtered their entire village.
Yeah, no, like, it sounds like someone said episode 1 was shit, and the makers of episode 1 said, yeah, you think that's shit. We're going to fuck with your mind. Or
you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, either that or, the idea of, like, every conversation, like, every writer's meeting started off with, we should really have a moment, maybe Anakin's mother dies, and, Padme is there to console him. And they go, that's actually really, really nice. Now let's snort a bunch of coke and add anything else to that. Literally just, Anakin should fucking kill some sand people!
And that's also really the only time where you see, Anakin has a darker nature that he gives into. It's a bit extreme and left field because, it's over the top, even for your mother being killed.
It's interesting. You know what it is, too? I think I think that the actor and the writing was trying to show that he also feels somewhat remorseful. But again, it was really hard to, he didn't portray that as well. He portrayed some, like, sadness, but it also sounded a bit like rage. It's hard to pinpoint what he was trying to do at that scene.
Honestly, I think they would go with both.
Yes, but the problem is that I feel like there wasn't, like, a balance of both, if not one or the other. It's very hard because it's not hard to say, like, it's hard for an actor to do that. It's like, yes, but that's why you need not only good actors. Not as if I'm not saying that we shouldn't have had Hayden Christensen because, again, he did very well in episode 3, or at least he did well in episode 3. But the idea that you need a good director to be able to say, hey, you need to be able to do this like this, okay? Take 2, take 3. Like, I don't know how many takes there were in that scene. Right. But it just, I don't know how that was their best take.
It didn't do it for you.
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm confused. Like, what were the other takes?
Right.
Dear God, what were the other ones? Okay, so
just deleted scenes. What were the other takes? Even the women and the I'm sorry, I can't. Let me try again.
Yeah, it's the women and is it weird that my nipples are hard? It's kind of cold in here, isn't it? Like, what the fuck were the other takes? I know Hayden Christensen would never feel that way. But what were the other takes, though, right?
I just figured the best way to make the joke out of it would be laughing at that line. Yeah.
No, of course. Nervous laughter
humor.
is a thing. No, nervous laughter is a thing.
Yeah.
No, it really is. I mean, that's why you've laughed through some of this. That's why you've laughed through some of this podcast. It's just like you're sitting there, you're like, oh God, this is pretty bad.
Oh God, I have to defend this as the fan here.
Yeah, and it's very hard for you to do that because you're sitting there and you're like, man, that really does seem like it's, you know, abuse of some kind, or at least it's just horrifying, you know. And you're like, oh God, like why? That's why you laugh. You're sitting there, you're like, why? I don't want to, but I've seen this for years. Maybe it's kind of like this. Anyway, when Obi-Wan was getting R2 to record that message, is it considered a callback when the reference you're trying to make actually happens in the future?
You mean
referring to Leia recording the same message, a similar message of just like, you know, you guys are my only hope type message. It's like, is it considered a callback when the reference you're trying to make actually happens in the universe's future? Is that
help me, Anakin? You're my only hope. Oh no!
Wait, we don't know what that means. We don't get that as a joke. Hasn't happened yet.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, so something good, right? I want to mention about good in the scene with Padme, and not only just that, something good in the scene with Padme and Anakin. What, Matt? Shut your mouth. The scene with Padme on the conveyor belt was great because it showed that she wasn't just some damsel in distress.
Yeah.
And I think it was done really well.
Right. No, I do too. I don't know. I mean, especially with Leia, but with Padme too, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I never, like, I don't know, that thought never ever crossed my mind, really. Like,
well, here's the thing, right? She always seems ready to go into battle, which is good. But at the same time, she never, it's hard because, you know, so she's not very physical, as in, like, she doesn't go in for the fight because that's not the kind of character that she is. But in a series that involves a lot of fighting, it seems like, and not that it makes her a damsel in distress, but it's just like, well, you know, what?
She can hold her own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, she can hold her own, even though it was, you know, a video game essentially. I'm going to jump through, like it was like Crash Bandicoot 2. I'm going to jump through the things that are slamming down. But
quick, mash A fast.
Basically. You know, it's just like, push. No, the analog stick. The analog's broken. Damn it. Oh, man, you're dead.
And then the struggle with the Geonosian. It's like, quick, mash the button. Oh.
Nope, you're dead. So, yeah, it was still, even though that's how it was done, I still enjoyed it. That and the scene with the cuffs later, where she got out of them before Obi-Wan and Anakin did. It was done very well, I think.
Oh yeah.
Also,
I thought that was pretty funny. You know, they're talking. It's like, oh, what about Padme? It's like he looks up. She seems to be on top of things.
Yeah, it was great.
Aside, not funny because of the pun, but like funny. Like, yeah, Anakin, look behind you. What?
Yeah, you're an idiot. Also, I thought the scene with C-3PO on the conveyor belt wasn't funny until he lost his head. I have to admit, I laughed. I laughed hard.
It's funny, like, you know, comic relief again, and I liked it when I was a kid, the whole joke with 3PO going into battle as, you know, a battle droid and all that. Mm-hmm. But seeing it now, I'm kind of like, was this really needed?
That's how I feel about Jar Jar, not overall, just in that scene in the last movie. But they clearly had to replace Jar Jar, and I'm happy they did with C-3PO because, again, you establish Jar Jar as a character that, you know, is somewhat serious now because he's older. And C-3PO, this is the kind of character that he is, just the general hijinks of just like, oh dear, why is this my life right now? You know?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I admit the line I love the most by him is just when he falls and he's on that droid and then he gets put in the assembly line and he just screams out, "This is a nightmare!"
Oh, my favorite line is when the other head is being put on his body. It's like, I forgot what the line exactly was, but it was just like, wait, yeah,
yeah,
like this doesn't seem right, and I love it. Or when C-3PO is being influenced by the body, so it's like, kill the Jedi. Wait, no, I didn't want to say that. And I'm like,
die, Jedi dogs. Oh,
yeah.
What did I say?
But just, can somebody please get him off me? I need help.
Yeah.
It was just nice that C-3PO was being. Also, I like the idea that, like, in a weird way, even though the Jedi doesn't know it's C-3PO, which in a way should make you think, yes, destroy the enemy, don't just do nothing. But anyway, you can't kill C-3PO, and that's why prequels are really hard to write. So that's why you'd write 3 of them apparently. Anyway, so but seriously, yeah, that's why But still, he didn't kill C-3PO, obviously. But
no,
it was very interesting because it was just like,
if I remember
push him
correctly,
down.
It was Kit Fisto that he force pushes him over. And he he smiles too after he does it. So I can only imagine what was going through his head, like, middle of a battle, Jedi are being slaughtered. I turn and see this. Like, I feel like if Jedi had phones, he would have taken a picture of it. Like, you guys wouldn't believe me if I didn't take a picture to show you. And just
you know what?
over,
no, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do this. Takes a selfie.
Oh God.
And then just doesn't even force push. It's too much energy. He just pokes. C-3PO falls over.
Well, I don't know. I just love it. He's like, this was an obvious mistake. There's this is wrong.
Are they not doing checks up there? Are we? What are we gonna have?
Yeah,
like
laughable wrong. Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna have an R2 unit on top of one. What are we gonna have next? What? What's this? Seriously, what's going on here, guys? What are we doing? So yeah, I think that was funny, actually, more so than I originally thought, because I wasn't a big fan when he was falling originally, because I knew it was going to happen, because he pushes him once and he doesn't fall, and I'm like, it's going to happen the second time. And then it did, but then once he actually got the head on the body, I thought, wait, this actually has potential to be hilarious. And it did. Also, the monsters coming after that, after that scene, having the monsters come out and everything, that was cool. But nothing compared to the fight with the Jedi, and the, Jedi with the clones eventually. But even before them being with the clones, just generally fighting, everything that the bad guys had to throw at them. I really enjoyed it a lot because it was, like I said in the, about the last movie, it was kind of not really much to get me hyped until the end of the movie.
Right.
This movie, sadly, there were some other nice stuff going on in there. There were, right? But it's not even like the movie was slow and didn't get me hyped. The movie just made me frustrated.
Right.
It really did. Makes it there and go, ugh. So this fight was just such a welcome reward.
Yeah.
For having to deal with nearly 2 hours of what I had seen.
Yeah.
This was a nice reward.
I enjoyed the monsters a lot too, and that little skirmish with Django and Mace Windu too.
Yes.
It's funny because I feel like because Django goes in, he's like, oh, I shot him before, and he leapt away. It's like, oh, he's afraid of me. Of course he is. I'm the big bad bounty hunter. And he comes down and goes, oh, I'm going to finish you off now. And Windu's just like, this is a joke, right? You're really coming at me. You're doing this. All right, man. All right. I mean, I'm going to show you why you're wrong, but okay.
Yeah.
He just bads him. And it's funny.
For a second,
Django, that look of surprise that must have been under his mask, oh, that just happened. And even Dooku. Dooku's like, oh, that happened. I'm like, what did you think was going to happen?
No, but it was done very well because for a second I thought the dinosaur chicken was going to kill Papa Fett. And I sat there and thought, well, just like your son then. But no, he actually died an amazing warrior's death. You were beheaded by Samuel L. Jackson.
That's true.
Nothing can beat that.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, even if you're to say, oh, he's Mace Windu, he's not Samuel L. Jackson, still, Mace Windu is a badass motherfucker. Shut your mouth. I'm just talking about Mace Windu. Seriously, fucking badass motherfucker. To be beheaded, I really thought Dinosaur Chicken was going to end him. But no. One thing I want to mention, though, about, these last 2 movies, right? I'm sorry, he was the Dinosaur Chicken. Don't you fucking deny me of this. He's the Dinosaur Chicken, okay?
Okay. It's called a reek, but,
movies,
whatever.
You said monsters overall. I sat there. I went, oh, so he doesn't know the names either. Okay.
No, I do.
Thank you.
It's a reek, Acklay, and... Oh, crap. All right. I forgot the cat.
I don't think I don't think Mr. Lucas called it, oh, crap. But okay. I'll give that to you. So what was it? It was reek, something, and then oh, crap. But I'll give it to you. But no,
the accolade was the giant spider thing.
Thank you. So talking about these last two movies, as we talked about, of course, we talked about the original trilogy as well, but maybe I'm biased here, right? Maybe it's because I grew up with the original trilogy and I don't remember the new trilogy, the newer trilogy, because we have a newest trilogy coming up. So I don't remember the newer trilogy as well. Right. But I feel like, okay, maybe it's the fact that the fights, lightsaber-wise, weren't the best in the first movie. Hear me out here. But the action in the other films, and the action in the other films are based on, mecha fights and blasters, but they still had a lot of, these fights, like, in general, spread out in the first three movies. And, in my opinion, characters were a bit more likable, or at least shown like they were fleshed out more. I don't know. I feel like they were overall better movies than this. Yeah. At least even a little bit of episode 1, but still, talking about 4, 5, and 6, again, maybe there's something wrong with me, right? I know everyone says it's like, oh, no, of course not, they're obviously better. But no, like, I actually want to try to look at these objectively. And, and it's hard because usually I try to say, no, I just want to judge this movie alone. But Star Wars is made in a way, unlike those Dragon Ball Z movies, that really try their hardest to be one off 15-minute
standoff
thing.
Right.
Yeah. These are really trying to be, oh, no, it's not just episode 4. It's 4, 5, and 6. You can just watch
part
them
of
all
the story
in one sitting. 1, 2, and 3. Just watch them in one sitting. It's the saga. It's kind of like, well, then if I had to compare, for some
I
reason,
would dare
4, 5, and 6. What?
I would dare
4, 5,
you to watch.
And 6 in one sitting?
No, to watch 1, 2, and 3 in one sitting. I don't think you could do it.
I would do it for charity. That's it. Like, I'd do it for charity, or if I was paid a lot of money, and a decent amount of that money would still probably go to charity, because I'd feel dirty receiving the money. So I'd be like, please, charity, take the money. Please.
Okay. Got it.
Whew. So, yeah, but I don't know, like, I just feel like, and yes, we weren't a big fan of, at least I wasn't a big fan of the lightsaber battle in episode 4. Wasn't the hugest fan of it, right? But there were some other stuff going on. It was just a general fun way to introduce these characters and really get into them. And, and there were other stuff was going on at the time, I mean, we had, it's not as if we didn't have, like, TIE fighters going around and, and other ships going around, trying to kill the Death Star thing. Which, by the way, Death Star plans in this movie, that's a fun way to foreshadow. Like, they don't know what we want to make. Boom, Death Star. That's a fun way to foreshadow. It makes sense that,
cool.
yes, they're going to make that one day. Duh. Anyway, so, we have all these ships going around. It feels good, right? Some nice fights. I mean, I'm not a big fan of, like, mecha stuff usually, but, so it's sometimes hard. Like, even in, let's say, like, Power Rangers, Super Sentai stuff, I usually am a bigger fan of them. I know, right? You're like,
wait a minute.
But even in Power Rangers Super Sentai, I usually like the battles on foot. Now, mind you, I like the making. I like the making of the mecha battles, right? Where it's like you realize that, it's like, how are these giant robots doing this? Is it CG? No, it's two dudes in a suit on a normal size set, but it looks giant sized, and it's nuts. So that's what I like, the making of. But so, and of course, looking at the making of Star Wars, seeing how they did this back in the day, yes, of course, with CGI, but in my opinion, done in a way that does not make it look as dated as this does right now, making full-on cities that they're walking through. I don't know why. For some reason, the city in the city that I made a joke about essentially is like, Corrin's Tower from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, right, Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, thank you. All I remembered was just, you motherfucker. Did you mean Lando Calrissian? You motherfucker. So I remember just, you motherfucker. He redeemed himself. Yes, that motherfucker did redeem himself. So, anyway, I remember him, but Cloud City, right? That was still done really well, I think. That was it just didn't seem like it was just outdated CGI, personally.
Right.
But, in this movie, getting back to CGI things very briefly, very outdated CGI, but getting back to characters, again, that's what I was really trying to go off on. It was just a nice way to get into, introduce these characters in 4, 5, and 6, these mecha fights that I really enjoyed as well. I say mecha in terms of, not just, spaceships, but also obviously having the what we call them, the AT&Ts, the ATSTs. Just walking around, fighting those, trying to, also I think it's also the idea of having a Rebel Alliance that you can really, get behind.
Right.
Where in this movie, it's like, let's follow the bad guy, which, yes, we have stories, comic book-wise. We have, Suicide Squad, right, which if you don't know what that is, Tristan, Suicide Squad.
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool. So,
I've heard you talk about it before and a few other things.
Okay,
but
cool.
Yeah.
Or actually, I should probably send you the trailer because a trailer came out for it because the movie's coming out soon. Not a big fan of the trailer, but I'm sure my mind will be changed. Anyway, so the way I feel, about it is we have had movies focus on the villain. I mean, hell, we're going to eventually have a Boba Fett movie. Who even though he's not a villain, it's like a anti-hero kind of villainy. Still, we'll probably enjoy it, right? We will, because anti-hero is fun. But still, it's just very hard to not only relate to these characters, but kind of sit there and be like, so we're just watching everything go to shit.
Yeah.
We're just watching the world burn right now.
And not even in a good way.
While the world burns. Yes.
Episode 3 is the one that really does that because that's, the climax where everything really does go to shit. But they did it in an amazing way,
Right. In this way, it's kind of like watching paint dry.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't argue that. It is. It really is.
All right, yeah. But also, not just that, again, as I mentioned earlier, just the way that they did the fights, I think, and the way that they had, this we have to fight against tyranny and everything. I don't know, these clear-cut good guys. I don't know, I understand some people might say, no, but we want depth. And I think Episode 5 gave us some of that depth. It really did. But not depth just what quote-unquote depth of just I still love him even though he is a murderer. Why? What? Wait, why do you fucking love him in the first place? He was a child to you moments ago.
Yeah.
No, I was just lying about him being a child. I really did love him. And mind you, that's not trying to say anything bad about Natalie Portman's acting, because I really liked her acting in Episode 2. In Episode 1, it was a little off, but I knew she was younger, and I was like, okay, this is your first. I think it was her first. If it wasn't her first film, I'm so sorry, but I think it was her first big film. So I was like, oh, okay, I understand. Take your time, right? You're going to be so great in Black Swan. Just take your time. But she really was good in Black Swan. If you haven't seen it, dude, go watch Black Swan.
Right.
It's really fucking good. You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I know she starred in it though, so.
Go watch Black Swan. It's fucking amazing. Anyway, her and Mila Kunis are amazing in that movie, but don't watch it with your parents. Anyway, so no, I'm being legit.
I know.
Anyway, so good, but because you know that much. Still though, I just kind of sit back and I don't know, I just look at this movie and I hate to compare it to the other three because they're the originals. And mind you, they had problems too. Don't think I have I'm talking about this I saw them 20 years ago when I was but a child. No, we did podcasts on them and I sat there and I was like, this was not good. This was not good. This was amazing. This was amazing. But still, just comparing the two, it's like, man, this movie just felt like a shit fest. With some good stuff in there. Not great, just good. Minus the last battle, just good stuff in there. Right?
And
we're at least,
you might even be surprised, but, really like the last battle.
You know why I didn't like it as much either?
I mean, the duel at the end is what I mean.
No, because what I was going to say was, because I was going to say, what they did was, again, really weird storytelling in my opinion. What they did was they had that big battle in the arena. Then they took a little break, go potty if you need to. I'm like, what? Are you fucking serious? What are you doing? And then they're like, and now we're going to have a duel. And I'm like, are we, what? You're getting 2 fights. We had something so cool. And then it's just like, no, we're going to, we're going, also, by the way, introducing the clones, we want to mention the clones, at least on the Jedi side, was very interesting because, look, I can agree, because I know you're going to try and defend it, and I agree with your defense. The Jedi needed an army. It's just weird because even if the clones were quote-unquote willing to help, they were bred to help. So being willing doesn't really feel like it's an actual thing.
Right.
Now, mind you, they had no choice. They would have died in the moment, right?
Mm.
And then the bad guys would have also used the clones eventually too, which I mean we know that that's happening. But still, it was just, I don't know, it felt awkward to me because it was just like, we have to do anything we can. And it was just like, you went from being, I know maybe some of you are not into anime, might not get this, so I'm sorry. It went from being, you're a really like nice, old man Yoda to, and a nice society, council, everything, into Bleach, Shinigami. That whole like Gote 13 situation. We're like, we must do anything we can.
I mean, honestly, that's a pretty good, Jedi Order is, I mean, anime-wise, you could think of them like, Soul Society.
They seem pretty not like that, though, up to this point, though. Maybe it was just me.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of because I've seen other, like, played games and read other things.
Right,
like,
of course.
And I mean, if that's however you want to take it, it's like, oh, that's not canon. It's like, okay, it's not, but it's still lore, so whatever. I'm gonna treat it like that.
I would argue that Star Wars, Clone Wars, and Rebels, at least to a certain extent, when this movie was around, were like that can be maybe not if we're talking about Episode 7, right? So if we're talking about Episode 7, I understand if like we don't reference Clone Wars, but in this case, I think we can reference Clone Wars or something like that.
I mean, that's why I really think you'd enjoy the story of Clone War. You'd enjoy the story of the Clone Wars through the series than the movies, because again, you're putting. I think it was I don't even know. I don't even remember how long the war actually was, but I mean, it was within Anakin's lifetime, so it was at least a 10 to 20 year war.
Wow.
Or no, 5 years.
That can't be
5 years.
Okay.
Right, that can't be right.
I said
I'm thinking of it longer than it is.
I said wow because I thought, man, that's crazy. But I did sat there and think, wait, so Anakin's like 40? It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and then I realized, wait a minute. No, that's not right.
Actually, no, he would have been, 20 years. He would have been 40. I was like, oh, wow. I think he's lying.
Yeah, I'm thinking
of
all the different time skips that they have with different series. But
he knows more than me. He has to be right. Oh, 20 years, you say?
Shut up. I can make mistakes too, okay?
You can. It's just very hard for you to because of how knowledgeable you are.
I know. It's at least a 5-year war.
Okay.
So it's like 4 or 5, something. Even still, that's a.
No, like I love it. You'll be like pretty in 5 minutes. 4.75. I know my fucking facts, man.
Oh God.
Slam shit on the table. I know my fucking facts.
The Clone Wars series gives you a more in-depth look at what's going on around you. The entire galaxy-wise. Characters, the Jedi, normal people, and the bad guys' side, which I'd like to point out, that's actually something that I had a big gripe with in this movie, is that
what bad guy?
Dooku, the leader of the bad guy forces, just kind of appears out of nowhere towards the end.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original trilogy, and hell, even in Phantom Menace, you still have flashes of, Sidious is kind of orchestrating shit in the background, and here's Maul, going after Qui-Gon. You don't see you don't even see Dooku talking to Sidious.
Yeah, until the end. Yeah. I think what they assumed was, I think they sat back and thought, which is a huge problem nowadays with movies, where, looking at the Fantastic Four, why were certain things not fleshed out? Because the writers sat back and said, we were going to explain it in the sequel. And it's horrifying to think that, like, are you fucking serious, right? But I think it was just the idea of them looking at Episode 2 and saying, oh, no, we have Episode 3 coming. And for many saying, but Matt, Episode 3 did a skip there. Yes, but also I can assume that with the way that the Clone War series came out, even though it was a bit later, right? There was another, I believe, another Clone War like miniseries or something going on as well that happened before the official Clone Wars series, the Clone Saga stuff.
There was.
So yeah, the point is that I assumed that they, were talking, and it was like, oh, we can continue this story, and that's why they had no problem, because I'm going to assume Dooku appears in the series.
Yeah, he does, but
exactly.
Even there, I don't think they really alluded to Dooku all that much. They gave more limelight to Grievous, actually.
Oh, that sucks then. Well,
I mean, hey, Grievous, the miniseries that I know about is the one that Genndy Tartakovsky created, and I believe it was after Clone Wars, after Attack of the Clones came out, but before Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
And it was a 20-episode miniseries, I think.
Okay.
I think the whole, if you take all of season 1, it's like an hour or half an hour, something like that.
I agree. Okay.
And it was a really cool series. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out.
Of course.
But they allude another thing, with Dooku's character, with the whole creation of the clone army. That's never really explained either. Clone Wars, the series that happened more recently, actually did an episode where they kind of trace the trail back. Okay, so apparently Master Sifo Dyas, who was killed at this time, placed the order for this clone army. Let's investigate that. And Obi-Wan and Anakin do, and they find out, it leads them back to Dooku. And Dooku, at the same point, is going back and covering his tracks. So when they go to meet an informant, Dooku's there and has just murdered him. And it's like, oh, well, that would explain that.
But yeah, so looking at this movie, though, jumping back into this movie, the duel at the end was strange because, again, not only did they slow everything down, they're trying to bring everything back, and then, we have Anakin being brashed, as always, Anakin. Then, of course, it's just like, oh, no, I took down Obi-Wan, and then, oh, Anakin, you want to try for me again because you think you're tough? Well, I cut off your arm, and I'm like, well, are we still working with that child psychologist? Because that happened.
Pretty sure you're not getting up after this one.
And then in my head, I'm just like, wait, so his next movie could have just be, I lost my arm, I'm now going to kill everything. Nah, he's chill. And then, Yoda fight, which I think is good to see. But I don't know if this was the exact moment to bust out that Yoda fight, though. Because that
was the only thing that saved it for me.
Yeah, but that's still a card you have to pull out, hey, people are getting, bored. Pull out the Yoda fight. Or, hey, we need to really, do something to, rile everyone up. Yoda fight. I don't know why they had to slow down their own momentum to bring out Yoda fight.
Yeah, I feel like Anakin and Obi-Wan, okay, granted, you really don't know much about Dooku because he's only just come into the picture. But it is evident by dispatching both of them, it should have been a bit of a longer fight because then maybe you would have gotten more sense of this. Dooku is an amazing duelist. I'll give him that. He is an amazing duelist. There's no question. And it would be pretty easy for him to dispatch both of them, even Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan's no, spring chicken either. He knows what he's doing. But the fact that he dispatched them so easily? Yeah, exactly. Okay, Anakin,
we don't have much time left, do we?
Him dispatching Anakin as fast as he did, okay, I can understand that. That would make sense. But the fact that Obi-Wan didn't last just a little bit longer kind of bothers me.
I get that.
And
here we are.
And when Anakin jumps back in to fight Dooku, and they're dueling, and you see it just flashing back and forth between their faces, I hated that. I hated that so much. It's like, show me the damn duel. I get what they're doing with the light on their faces, that's cool, but show me the damn duel, please. In episode 1, you had 2 people fighting a Sith. You did it great. Why did you suddenly fuck it up for this?
I know the double lightsabers too. I thought, oh, that's nice, and then like you said, close up. Like,
even though Dooku didn't have double lightsabers, he was still good enough of a duelist to take them on both at once.
Of course.
Granted,
yes.
his mentality would probably be, okay, dispatch one so I don't have to fight them both at once, which is a smart tactic on his hand. Yes, I would assume he would try and do that anyway. But still,
right.
Yeah.
So I love that we found. Okay, so I've been complaining, and you've been agreeing, right? For most of it, really. But I've been complaining for the entire. And I love that we get to the end, and you're like, and now it's my time. Do you understand? And I'm just sitting back, like, no, I don't. Please tell me, Tristan. But yeah, no. So we're at the end of our show. Thank you for ranting, Tristan. I'm happy that we had your rant on the end.
Okay.
No. I mean, look, we're going to have episode 3, and believe me, it's not like episode 3 is going to be the end. You know, we still have those Family Guy specials to get back to. And we have even, not just that, we have all these animated series to look at as well, and live action, too. Not series, but we have some live action films that we haven't looked at that I think you didn't even know existed.
Okay.
Did you not know that they existed, or did you? Like live action TV specials.
No, I'm not sure.
We have some things to sift through in the future.
Uh-oh.
I said sift, not Sith.
Not
did I?
Sift through.
Dun. Anyway, so
I have the
we've
plans,
reached the end of our
master.
show. We reached the end of the episode. We would like to thank you all for listening in. We'd like to tell you that, of course, as always, we have merchandise which you can buy for our, different T-shirts, so that we've had, different funny quotes from the show that we've said over and over, depending on the podcast, or just some funny stuff in general relating to pro wrestling and some other stuff, and some stuff related to our Let's Plays. Which, yes, we do Let's Plays. We'll talk about that in just a second, though. But yeah, you can buy our merchandise through cafepress.com/TGOTR merchandise. You can find our podcasts on our main website, which is thoseguysontheradio.tumblr.com, our Facebook, which is /thoseguysontheradio, our Twitter, which is @thoseguysradio, and our Instagram, which is /thoseguysontheradio. You can also find us on iTunes as well by searching up Those Guys on the Radio. Also, you can find us on YouTube. You can find our older stuff on there, with me constantly updating with some of our newer stuff by searching up. What are you searching up on YouTube? Those Guys on the Radio. Speaking of our Let's Plays, what do you search up this time? No, not Those Guys on the Radio. Those Guys Play. So you search. I love this. Tristan's trying not to laugh, and I love it because I know you're trying to hide it. You're like, please don't. So yeah, we have Those Guys Play. We have Those Guys Play on our YouTube account. Get one of our YouTube accounts. You search up Those Guys Play. You find our Let's Play YouTube account. And as I mentioned earlier in our merchandise, yes, we do have Those Guys Play shirts. Some in some very, Star Warsy type font for some. Why, mind you? Why would we have that? Because you and I, Tristan, have played Star Wars Battlefront, not only on
Because why not?
Yeah. Not only on Thanksgiving, but you and I have actually pushed it towards our own series, aptly named Those Guys Play Star Wars Battlefront. What? How are we such geniuses? It just comes naturally. Also, I have my own series where I beat games from my childhood that is actually called, again, fucking genius, Matt beats games from his childhood. The game that I'm actually playing this time is Mega Man X. Watch me beat Mega Man X. But also, Tristan, you and I have not only played Star Wars, you and I have played, on Halloween, we played Part 1 of Luigi's Mansion. Well, Part 1 is in our Halloween special, Part 1, we played Luigi's Mansion, which one day we could go back to, by the way. Future episodes, what? Also, you and I have played on our Those Guys Play General Season 1. Season 2 coming up in February, by the way. Unless the episode is coming out in February, in which case, how's that season? Isn't it great? So Season 2 coming up in February. Season 1 already had ended in the year 2015. But you and I have played Episode 2, I believe you and I played Hot Wheels Turbo Racing and Pets Crazy Monkeys. You liked the first game. I didn't like the second game. That happened. It really did. That's how it happened. And we have some great stuff coming up. I know. We have some great stuff coming up for season 2 as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Isn't it?
So, yeah, so it is. Oh, it will be. So, again, you search up Those Guys Play, and you'll find not only Those Guys Play Season 1 as well as Those Guys Play Star Wars Battlefront with myself and Tristan. You will also find Matt Beats Games from his childhood, which, by the way, coming out with some merch for that over the next, or maybe it's already out, over the next month, or it's already out. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so thank you all for listening in, and have a good night, and you want to, or good day, depending on when you're listening to this. And you want to say anything before we go, Tristan?
Yeah, there's actually, no, I'm kidding.
You always do that. Not always, but I love when you do it. Anyway,
all right.
So again, good night, everybody. Say good night, Tristan.
Good night, and may the Force be with you.
And also with